There's a rift, a tear in reality, allowing forces of evil, the Swarm, to invade our world. They seek to corrupt, infect, and destroy. They bring only chaos and damnation. Can you stop them? Or maybe, just maybe, you want to join them. No matter the decision, the battles to come will be monumental. Welcome to the world of Napoleonica, Steel and Magic. Miniature Landscape Hobbies is proudly supported by these sponsors.
It's the height of the Napoleonic era. Infantry stand shoulder to shoulder, cannons have been dragged into position, and everybody's ready for battle.
But along with these familiar staples of the age, magical energy thrums below it all, profoundly changing a world that was never meant to contain it. Creatures from folklore and nightmare step onto the battlefield, and suddenly the rules of war are rewritten. That's the world of Napoleonica, Steel and Magic.
This just isn't Napoleonic warfare with fantasy bolted on. This is a fundamental change to the way armies fight and the way nations evolve. Magic is integral to the world of Napoleonica.
When I first came across Napoleonica, what grabbed me wasn't the mechanics. It was the idea. That is, the constant tension between discipline and chaos, between carefully drilled formations and forces that simply do not care about the human rules of engagement. And that tension carries through everything in the game, from the models to the rules to the way battles unfold.
Everything about this game looks and feels epic, and in this video we're going to dive in and take a look. Get ready, because your new favorite game has just arrived.
Before we talk about how the game plays, I need to talk about the miniatures. Because for me, as a painter and a hobbyist, this is where Napoleonica really clicked. These models are full of character. You can see the historical roots immediately: uniforms, weapons, and postures. But then those expectations are twisted just enough by the fantasy elements to feel fresh instead of gimmicky. They're dynamic without being cluttered, detailed without being overwhelming. They reward careful painting, but they don't punish you for keeping things clean and readable. You can paint disciplined uniformed armies, or push weathering, contrast, and magical effects to really sell the setting.
They look great ranked up on the table, and they also look really good on display, which of course matters if you enjoy the art aspect of the hobby as much as the game itself.
Each player commands a faction inspired by real-world Napoleonic powers, but altered by the presence of magic. Infantry, cavalry, artillery, and supernatural units all fight side by side on the same battlefield.
It's tactical without being exhausting, and deep without being inaccessible.
Most scenarios focus on controlling objectives, breaking enemy momentum, and managing pressure across the battlefield. This isn't a game simply about removing models. Positioning, timing, and endurance matter just as much as raw damage. Napoleonica is played over a series of rounds, and each round follows the same general structure. Once you understand this flow, the entire game starts to make sense. The round begins with the order phase. This is where you draw cards, manage your hand, and look at the battlefield. You're deciding how aggressive you want to be, which units you expect to activate early, and which cards you absolutely need to hold on to.
Nothing explodes yet, but this is where good quality players begin to pull ahead.
Next comes the reinforcement phase. Instead of units simply being removed when they take damage, Napoleonica uses a reinforcement track. Damaged units slide down the track, and if you've kept the right cards, you can stabilize them, rebuild them, or bring them back into the fight.
Losses matter, but they don't instantly decide the game. The game itself can swing back and forth, and you can recover from some defeats.
This is where Napoleonica really separates itself. Activations aren't fixed. Instead, units activate through drawing activation tokens. These tokens determine which units get to act and in what order. This means you can't perfectly script around. Sometimes you'll get a surge of momentum, other times your opponent will seize the initiative and force you to react. Every draw adds tension, and every activation feels valuable. When a unit activates, you're choosing how to spend that moment of opportunity. Units can do several things. They can move, to reposition or claim objectives. They can attack, either at range or in melee. They can use special abilities tied to their unit type or faction, or take multiple actions if you're willing to accept fatigue. And that decision, how hard to push, is at the heart of the game. Line infantry form the backbone of most armies. They hold ground, project firepower, and control space. Cavalry are fast and aggressive, ideal for flanking, exploiting gaps, or punishing overextended units. Artillery dominates lanes of fire and forces your opponent to respect positioning. Then you add magical and supernatural units, creatures and constructs that break conventional expectations and force players to adapt rather than rely on textbook tactics. Every additional action a unit takes adds fatigue tokens. Push too far, and that unit becomes exhausted and has to rest before it can meaningfully contribute again.
This prevents spamming your strongest units and makes sure that your force is kind of balanced. It also makes for decisions where it might not be a good idea to activate a unit at all.
If units are the body of Napoleonica, the maneuver deck is the brain. Each faction has its own deck, and that deck defines how it plays. Cards generally fall into a few key types: activation cards that let units act, combat cards that modify attacks, defense, or dice, reaction cards which are played during your opponent's turn, and tactical tricks that bend the rules in subtle but powerful ways. Cards are, of course, a limited resource. Every card you play is one you won't have later. You're not just playing cards on your turn. Holding a card can be just as powerful as playing one. Your opponent knows you might have a response, and that uncertainty creates hesitation, bluffs, and mind games, which, of course, are a lot of fun.
That tension is where a lot of Napoleonica's personality comes from.
Combat uses custom dice with different risk profiles. Some are reliable, others are swingy but devastating. Critical results can trigger effects tied to factions or units, and cards can modify outcomes. You're never just rolling and hoping, you're choosing how much to commit to each fight. When you pull everything together, Napoleonica becomes a game about pressure. Pressure through positioning, pressure through fatigue, pressure through card economy, and pressure through timing.
And it all feeds back into what you see on the table. After playing Napoleonica, what really gets me about the game is its presence. Its whole persona, as it's presented on the table, is just awesome.
Painted formations advancing, exhausted units pulling back. Supernatural forces crashing into disciplined lines. The rules don't just function, they support the story unfolding on the battlefield. In the future, you can rest assured that this definitely is not the last time you'll see Napoleonica or Signum Games. I've got more coverage planned Deeper dives, more hobby content, and future episodes focused on both gameplay and painting. So, if this mix of tactical gameplay, historical inspiration, fantasy elements, and strong hobby support speaks to you, then stick around, because there's a lot more to explore. I'll be back soon with more miniature painting tutorials, product reviews, and terrain tips. In the meantime, I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider joining my Patreon. Right now, there's also an extra benefit for members at all tiers, even free members, and that's an exclusive guide to mastering miniature painting theory. This handcrafted PDF will enhance your painting skills, I pretty much guarantee it. And best of all, you can get it completely free as a thank you for taking interest in miniature landscape hobbies. Just sign up for the free Patreon membership tier. No credit card required, no strings attached. Lastly, if you'd like to purchase any miniatures, games, or model building supplies for yourself, you'll see links to Wayland Games, Miniature Market, and Signum Games in the video description. These are affiliate links, so any purchases you make there will help support the channel, and I'd really appreciate that. At the Signum Games link, you'll also find the information to get involved in the Napoleonica Steel and Magic Kickstarter. See you next time for more miniature gaming, painting, and diorama videos. But most importantly, until then, remember to keep building life in miniature.